treasury of heavens is opening for those who have aligned their internal kingdom with truth. This is the sovereign supply. Provision that does not come from a boss or a system, but it comes from alignment. Your supply becomes the responsibility of the king. The financial squeezing you felt recently was a test of your reliance. The Almighty was drying up the dirty channels of income so that you'll finally learn to drink from the source. You'll walk through storms of 2026 as if you're cloaked in light. The liminal space. There's a particular kind of courage required to let things end without trying to rescue them. The courage to sit with the discomfort of an incomplete story. The courage to allow a chapter to close without knowing what the next one holds. Most people cannot do this. Most people rush to fill the space of what's ending with something. Anything that restores the feeling of continuity. A new habit to fulfill the time of the abandoned one. A new identity to step into before the old one has fully dissolved. And in that rushing, they skip the most important part. The part where you are nothing, in particular the part where you're between stories. The part where you're genuinely and comfortably, productively empty. That emptiness is not a problem to be solved. It is a field to be inhabited. It is the silence between notes that makes the music possible. If you rush through it, if you feel it before it has done its work, you carry the unprocessed residue of your old life into your new one. And then you wonder why the new one feels like the old one in a different costume. Stay in the emptiness long enough to let it complete its work. It knows what it's doing. You're in the most sacred part of the journey. The part where the old world has lost its grip and the new world hasn't fully formed yet. The part where you're held by nothing but your own willingness to keep going, and the part where faith is not a belief but a practice. Something you do every morning when you choose alignment over comfort, truth over approval, presence over performance. Sovereign detachment. It reaches a point in life where you stop needing understanding to know your experience is valid. You stop waiting for permission that was never anyone else's to give in the first place. You make peace with being uncategorizable. You build an internal supply of the things you used to outsource. You build your own validation through the evidence of your own evolution. You build your own certainty through instinct, forged by navigating the unsurvivable without a map. You build your own belonging through alignment with your own actual values rather than performance designed for other people's comfort. You become self-sourced. Whether you stay the real thing or reveal yourself as the peak that has now passed, stay the real thing. Not as a strategy, as a standard. The standard of someone who was never performing in the first place and has no reason to start now. The sacred blueprint. Let me tell you what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. He does not attack what is average. He does not organize campaigns against the mediocre. He does not lose sleep over the ones who've compromised, who've bent their values to fit the room, who've traded their assignment for applause. Those people are already neutralized. They neutralize themselves, not by external force, but by an internal surrender of their divine mandate. Their lights have dimmed to mere flickers, easily overlooked in the vast darkness, posing not threat to the dominion of shadows. But you refuse to do that. You stand firm, an immovable pillar against the currents of compromise, holding fast to the sacred blueprint. entrusted to your spirit. That refusal has made you the most dangerous person in his territory, a luminous beacon whose unwavering flame exposes the darkness and threatens to ignite a revolution of light. He sees in you an untamed fire, a spirit-led defiance that holds far more power than any army he could ever master. He targets you not because you're weak, but because you're a potent force of transformation, a carrier of kingdom authority that challenges his very existence. I have felt the atmospheric pressure of the world changing. The world is no longer just fighting over land or resources. We've entered the era of frequency war, which is a silent, invisible battle for the most valuable asset you possess, your attention. Everywhere you look, on the screens in your workplace and in the very air you breathe, there's a constant heavy static. The world is shouting at you to be afraid, to be hurried, and to be perpetually distracted. This is no accident. It is deliberate sinking process. The systems of man want to tune your soul to the frequency of the machine, the frequency of debt and anxiety. When your energy changes, your presence changes. And when your presence changes, the world begins to respond. You experience not just external attention, but a reflection of internal alignment. People don't just watch what you do, they respond to what you've become. Most people move through life unconsciously, unaware of the energy they project. But when someone begins to grow, heal, and align with their deeper self, that energy becomes more noticeable. It becomes calm, focused, and grounded. And without needing to announce it, others begin to feel it. That's often what draws attention, not noise, but clarity. When people are repeatedly drawn to observe someone, it is rarely about curiosity alone. On a deeper level, they are trying to understand something they cannot easily explain. They watch how you carry yourself, how you respond to situations, how you move through life, and what they are really searching for is not information, but understanding. They sense that you operate differently, and they want to know why. People see you living with a level of awareness, discipline, or peace. It reflects something back to them about their own lives. For some, it inspires growth. For others, it creates discomfort. But either way, your presence becomes something they cannot easily ignore. Not because you're trying to stand out, but because alignment naturally stands out in a world filled with distraction. What makes this even more powerful is that you may not even be trying to inspire anyone. You're simply living your life, focusing on your path, doing what feels right to you, and somehow your actions begin to influence others. This is one of the highest forms of leadership. Leading without forcing, teaching without speaking, and inspiring without seeking attention. It is a quiet influence, but a powerful one. However, when more eyes are on you, it also brings a certain level of responsibility. Not in a heavy, overwhelming way, but in an aware way, because people are not only watching what you achieve, they're observing how you handle challenges, how you treat others, and how you respond under pressure. Your actions begin to carry meaning beyond just your own life. How you handle challenges, how you treat others, and how you respond under pressure. Aligned connections. People carry a misconception that real connection is supposed to feel intense from the beginning, like something overwhelming, fast moving, almost chaotic. There's this expectation that if it's real, it should pull you in immediately, create emotional spikes, make you feel like you're losing control in a good way, but that's not actually how aligned connections feel. What you experienced before might have had intensity, but it also came with confusion, right? It came with mixed signals, overthinking, moments of certainty followed by doubt, highs that didn't last, and lows that didn't make sense. That kind of intensity feels powerful in the moment, but it does not hold. It creates movement, but not stability. Your aligned connection will feel different in a way that might surprise you at first. It's calm, not boring, not empty, but steady. There's no constant questioning, no need to question everything. You're feeling like you have to figure out where you stand. Things make sense without effort. Conversations flow without needing to be managed. You don't feel like you're trying to maintain something, it maintains itself. Real connection doesn't create emotional spikes, and it removes emotional confusion. That's the shift. Instead of wondering how the other person feels, instead of trying to interpret actions or read between the lines, things will be clear. There comes a point where the chosen one stops merely surviving spiritual pressure and begins stepping into spiritual authority. That authority is not arrogance, it's not noise, it's not domination, it's clean alignment. It's knowing what no longer belongs. It is refusing what no longer has permission. It's honoring what God has made clear. When that authority wakes up, even your pain changes shape. It stops being just a wound and starts becoming evidence. Evidence of what you survived, evidence of what no longer gets to name you, evidence of what God carried you through even when you thought you were barely holding on, evidence that there is something in you stronger than the darkness that tried to educate you into hopelessness. An emotionally powerful moment. Proof that the core of you had not died under pressure. Proof that all the rejection, delay, pressure, exposure, and emotional warfare did not succeed in flattening your spirit. That matters more than people know. There are many who survived externally but disappeared internally. They kept functioning, but their inner fire is dim. They keep moving, but conviction thins out. They keep speaking, but their real voice becomes hard to find. That did not happen to you, not fully. You were bruised. Yes, there were moments where you felt exhausted enough to disappear emotionally. There were stretches where the wait felt so long and the delay so stubborn that even hope had to crawl instead of run. But the center did not die. Jesus made a statement in the book of John that shook foundations of human understanding. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. John 17:16. They are not of the world. Who was he speaking about? His chosen one, his people, those who were sent into this world but do not belong to it. That means there are two types of people walking on this earth: the ones who are of the world and those who are not of the world. The first group is bound to this world. Their thoughts, desires, and existence are tied to earthly systems. They chase after what is temporary. They live and die according to the rules of man. They are ruled by what they see, hear, and feel. But the second group, the ones who are not of this world, are different. Their existence does not begin and end here. Their thoughts operate on a higher level. Their desires do not align with the ways of the world. Their spirit responds to a different frequency that the world cannot understand. And if you are a chosen one, you're part of the second group. Your physical body may have been born on this earth, but your spirit was born somewhere else. Your origin is divine. Your existence was planned before